Take charge of your thoughts. Take charge of your life.
Psychologist, author, speaker, musician, former professor, and the host of Love and Life, Dr. Karen Anderson-Abril.
Welcome to Dr. Karen Love and Life. I'm Dr. Karen Anderson-Abril. Recently, I've been hearing a lot about CBD oil, and I really didn't know a whole lot about it, but it kept coming across my radar, and I was intrigued. Apparently, it helps with psychological conditions like anxiety, ADHD, and depression. It also helps with physiological conditions like rheumatoid arthritis, Parkinson's disease, even helps people get off opioid addictions. So I was quite intrigued, and I wanted to learn more. Now, I want to be very clear. I have not tried CBD oil. This episode is in no way meant to be an endorsement of CBD oil. And frankly, there's not a lot of research out about CBD oil at this time, which we'll talk about later in the episode. But as you know, I am an advocate for alternative approaches to treating psychological conditions and physiological conditions. So to help us better understand the CBD oil phenomenon, I've invited Jen Kerr to the program. She'll explain how she first became aware of CBD oil and how she became very convinced that it was making a huge impact on physiological and psychological health. She delves into why it works and why it's something that seems to help so many different ailments. In fact, it may help something that you're currently struggling with. Jen, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
I'm really excited to have you on for several reasons. First and foremost, my listeners know that as a psychologist, I am very concerned that we're in an age of over-medicating. There's diagnostic inflation. Every little boy who is fidgety is straight up ADHD. Right. Every time you have nerves before going to a party, you have social anxiety disorder. And so I have a big concern for all these issues. And at the same time, if we don't present people with other options, then they will just go to that default mode of, oh, I guess I need to pop a pill,
right? Which
is where you come in and CBD oil comes in. So tell the listeners a little bit about how you got turned on to CBD oil and what you're seeing in terms of really changing lives without Big Pharma.
Yeah, exactly. So I knew nothing about CBD oil 18 months ago. I was at the vet. My St. Bernard was with me. She had what we thought pulled something in her shoulder. It ended up being an aggressive form of bone cancer. They gave me a 1-week prognosis and told me treatment options were none because it was so advanced, and just to kind of go home and keep her medicated, pharmaceuticals, and I wouldn't have much time with her. So at the same time, my mom was in the lobby reading an article in Modern Dog magazine, and it was all about dogs with cancer and CBD oil. So I left in tears, took my dog home, and we looked everywhere for CBD oil. And living in the summer of 2017, you couldn't find it. So I drove to Michigan, an hour away, walked into a smoke shop, got a bottle of this CBD oil that I knew nothing about, and I got home, I put 5 drops in her food. She quit limping within an hour.
Wow.
Yeah, and I had no idea. Of course, I kept thinking maybe I was just, projecting that or wishing that I saw her not limping. And then we had friends come over the next day, and they're like, your dog's not limping. I thought you said she has cancer, and that they gave you 1 week. I'm like, okay, it's not just me then. So there's something happening here I want to know about. So I did lose her, but I had her 2 full months pain-free.
Wow.
Before I lost her. Quality of life was restored. She was eating. She was playing, sleeping with no issues. And I even took her for a second opinion, thinking maybe this was a misdiagnosis.
Yeah.
I drove her 2 hours to Purdue University, and they confirmed it was osteosarcoma. And they didn't know how she wasn't showing any signs of pain. They said, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. So
wow.
Told them I'm giving her CBD oil, and their response was, we don't know anything about that, but if you feel like it's working, keep doing it. So I did, and then I became obsessed with what is this CBD oil that nobody knows about, the vets don't know. So I kept investigating, and last fall, one of my yoga instructors made a post about that her rheumatoid arthritis was in remission. after 3 weeks of taking this CBD oil. And I had a grandmother with the worst case of RA I'd ever seen. She passed at 64, and she didn't pass from the arthritis, but she passed from the complications from her pharmaceuticals. Mm-hmm. It was Humira, prednisone, and methyl tricyclate, and they caused her esophagus to rupture, and she died at 64. So for me to find somebody that had some sort of success with a natural path of, a remedy or a help, remission even, I contacted her immediately and wanted to know, what do you know about this?
So initially, I'm hearing, okay, it's going to help the puppies, and then it's going to help grandma, and it seems too good to be true. So explain to the listeners why it is able to target so many problems. Yeah.
I'm glad that you asked me that, because this is one of my favorite parts to talk about. When I do events a couple times a week, just informing people on CBD oil, and in all of the homework and research I've done, hemp was a huge part of this country up until 1937 when the government banned it. So when you look back, prior to 1937, our food source actually grazed on hemp, not soy, not corn, not grain, not whatever garbage we throw in a trough and, have them eat it because it's inexpensive. But when we had that hemp in our food source, that's full of the cannabinoids, which CBD is in the hemp. So up until 1937, when we automatically had CBD in our food source, you didn't see as many diseases and ailments as you see now.
So at that time, it was part of our system just through our normal diet.
Exactly.
Since then, which is not quite, but almost 100 years now, we have slowly but surely, we're seeing these ailments on the increase because we don't have this now as part of our food source, as part of our diet.
Right. Our bodies have been deprived of it, in this country for almost 100 years.
Right.
And that hemp, the cannabinoids in that hemp plant are actually what go in and balance out our endocannabinoid system, which are the receptors in our body that manage everything from anxiety, inflammation, pain, disease, behavioral issues, sleeping issues, autoimmune, you name it. The endocannabinoid system keeps all that in balance. It's kind of like the balance between the brain and the receptors in the body.
Wow.
Yeah. So our bodies are actually, they require cannabinoids. We produce our own.
Okay.
But if they're not fed, by ingesting the hemp, what I like to say, they kind of shrink or they starve. And then you get these red flags in your body saying something's not in balance. And my way of kind of interpreting that is the red flags are anxiety, rosacea, Crohn's, ADD, Hashimoto's, cancer, inflammation of any kind, like you name it. Those are kind of your body's way of telling you, because your body can't say, hey, guess what? Your system's not in balance.
Right.
So you get all these red flags. So when you introduce the cannabinoids back into the endocannabinoid system, you're kind of fueling up and reconnecting those damaged receptors.
It's curious to me why one person's lack of cannabinoids is going to manifest in anxiety, while another person's might manifest in cancer, or like you said, rosacea, or maybe psoriasis, or any number of ailments. That's interesting, but that's probably just an interaction of their environment, stressors, just other realities.
It's just how the body's responding to the lack of.
Okay, so for someone who's out there going, this sounds great, but I don't want to get high. Help them understand how it's not marijuana.
Exactly. It is not marijuana. If you're looking for a high, you're going to be highly disappointed that this does not have THC.
Okay.
There's two different types of CBD oil. Ours is hemp-derived, so it comes from the hemp plant, not the marijuana plant. They're both a cannabis plant related.
Okay.
So there's two strains of cannabis. There's the marijuana plant with the very high THC, hence gives you the high. Mm-hmm. And then there's the hemp plant that's very low in THC. You want that tiny little trace of THC in your oil, if at all possible, which is called full spectrum, which means that the company will extract every single cannabinoid from the plant. There's over 120 types of cannabinoids in the plant, and they work together as a team to go in and kind of restore and repair the receptors. One type of cannabinoid is the THC. In the full spectrum, to be federally legal in all 50 states, it has to be under 0.3% trace of THC, and the company I'm with is under 0.03%. So for people fearful of drug testing,
right?
Because that's always, I think
you're going
there. My next question,
right?
And I get that all the time.
Yeah.
Because it's full spectrum and it's under the 0.03%, it should not cause a positive, but it depends on how your body absorbs the cannabinoids and what hangs on to them the most. The fat cells might hang on to more THC than like CDC or CBD or something, one of the other cannabinoids, that could then throw a positive. So the backup plan would be the isolate, which means they completely extract the THC in the processing, but they also kind of lose a couple of the other cannabinoids in that extraction process. So my 2 cents is always, if you can get away with the full spectrum and not worried about drug testing, I would absolutely suggest that. And the backup, if you work in the mills or a hospital or, anywhere that has very stringent rules and regulations on drug testing, zero tolerance, anything like that, then I would say the isolate.
Sure. That makes sense.
Yeah. I wasn't sure that was going to work as well either, so I wasn't recommending it at all. And I'm getting a ton of feedback from people that went that route, and I've not had any issues with people complaining that it's not working.
Well, that's good to know, because again, you may want to handle your anxiety, but you'll have more anxiety if you lose your job.
Exactly. You might rev it up a little bit.
So, well, now, speaking of drugs, sticking with that topic, you have seen some remarkable work with people trying to get off, I believe, opioids and Oxycontin and so forth.
Norco, Percocets. Yeah.
And so describe to the listeners what's going on with that and how CBD oil helps with it.
Sure. That, so anybody that's ever been addicted to any kind of pharmaceutical, I have one person in particular that I met back in March, and he came to me, and he's 32 years old. He's been addicted to Norco and Percocets since he was 18. And every time he tries to withdraw, he gets severely sick. Stomach cramps, diarrhea, vomiting, muscles out of control, that he can't control his body. And it's so bad that he ends up taking the pills again just to alleviate those symptoms. When he goes to his doctor, the doctor says, oh, you want to come off of these? Here's a prescription for something else that will help you come off these medications. The side effects to that drug make him sicker than if he was withdrawing on his own.
Wow.
So him and I talked, and he started with the CBD oil on a Friday, and by that Wednesday, he was completely off all the pharmaceuticals that he'd been trying for almost 18 years to come off of. And this it helps bring the anxiety level down. It helps kind of control what's going on in the body with the craving and the addiction. Same thing with alcohol, with cigarettes, if it's a sugar addiction, any kind of addiction.
I'd love to see the research on that, but I know we've talked about before that there isn't as much research as there should be because, of course, Big Pharma doesn't want these studies to be out there, because then we're going to go and take CBD oil instead of go for their route, which obviously was very helpful for this young man for the last 18 years, right?
Exactly, right.
I mean,
did such a good job.
Right.
Hi, this is Bruni Getchell, life coach and clinical hypnotherapist from Boston, Massachusetts, and I listen to Dr. Karen's podcast, Love and Life.
So my listeners know that I'm a psych nerd, so it does concern me a little bit that there's a lack of research on CBD.
They're coming out with more and more.
Okay.
The more homework that I do, I'm finding a lot online. It's just a lot that you're lucky to find it online before they come and they take it off of the websites or whatever social media outlet you follow. If there's anything CBD related, a lot of times it doesn't last for long. This morning I was sharing an article I found on CBD oil and how it helps rheumatoid and osteoarthritis and inflammation in the body. And by the time I got done reading it and went to share it to my group page, it was gone. Website no longer available. It was taken down that quick.
See,
so it's hard to find that research.
That's scary. This makes me feel like it's almost like conspiracy theory kind of stuff. And
that's how it feels.
I bet.
Yeah. Especially when you're like me and so excited about something like this. And I did a live Facebook video back in March just to tell people my experience with CBD oil, what it is, how it works, some testimonials that I had come across in the first 6 months I'd been doing this. And I put it on YouTube and they shut it down. I got a warning that I was in violation of policy and procedures for promoting illegal drugs, and I have a 90-day suspension on YouTube. If I do it again, I get permanently removed. And my sponsored ad account was taken down on Facebook because I posted that I had CBD available at my shop in Michigan. And I've been fighting them since March, telling them it's legal, it's hemp-derived. I will walk away from this fight if you can tell me why you won't reinstate my sponsored ad account. Why was my appeal denied? And now nobody will respond at all.
Well, I think you're in a long line of other people who are irritated with Facebook, and there's some clear censorship happening. I think we're at that point. Yeah. There's no way to... I mean, he was in front of Congress a couple months ago, so...
Exactly.
But probably if we keep talking about this, then if I try to share this on Facebook, it'll get taken down.
You might be suspended. Put in Facebook jail for a week.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's frustrating because it's such an amazing resource for people that are struggling, and there's a major lack of knowledge and education that are out there about it.
For sure, which is why I wanted to have you on, because I'm a huge fan of therapy. I mean, now I'm talking about the psychological conditions that you speak of, and I'm not a big fan of just popping a pill. It's putting a Band-Aid over a tumor. You're not going to get the heart of the matter. And a lot of studies show that many of the psychotropic medications, the effects that people think that they are feeling are placebo effects. I mean, so you're basically just poisoning your body for no reason. You think you're having a benefit. You're basically experiencing what you're expecting to experience. Or you went to the doctor and you got your Prozac, and 2 weeks later, you would have felt better anyway. But because you've been on Prozac for the last 2 weeks, you think it's because of Prozac. Yeah. But it was really just you were in your darkest hour when you went to the doctor, and now you're not.
Like all of a sudden you just feel better.
Right.
Yeah.
So tell us some more of the success stories with different conditions.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I have so many. That some of my favorite stories. I told you about the young man with the opioid addiction that was just mind-blowing to me. He now does educations to tell people that there's an alternative to addiction with opioids and what it did for him. I had a woman come to my store in February, and she had a rare form of skin cancer. It was benign skin cancer. She's had it for 25 years, but she was covered head to toe in open red infected sores. Just,
oh my gosh.
It looked like a really bad case of infected shingles or like chickenpox for an adult. It was horrific, and she's had it forever, and her doctors just keep playing with different pharmaceuticals. They don't know how to help her. She literally told me she hadn't shaved her legs in 4 months because the sores were so bad that she couldn't, and there were so many. So then I was honest with her. I'd never heard. I can't even pronounce the actual name of what she had. And I told her, I don't know if this is going to work for you. I've never heard of what you have before because it's so rare. I'm like, let's try this. And let's, keep in touch and let me know if it's working, if it's not, what you're noticing. That was on a Saturday, and that next night I messaged her. She found me on Facebook. She friended me. And I just kind of said, I know it's been 24 hours. I'm curious, do you notice anything? And at that point, she responded and said, yeah, I was just getting ready to message you. The redness was gone. The pain and the inflammation were gone. And she felt like she noticed that they were starting to heal, which I found amazing. And then 10 days later, she sent me a before and after picture, and she was completely clear.
Oh, my gosh.
And has not had an eruption since February.
And this has been going on. She's had this condition for years.
25 years.
25 years.
Yeah, 25 years. Wow. But now it's like she feels so much better. She went on a diet. She's dropped, I think she said 80 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like she's on this health kick now because she feels better.
Right. So, and she can focus on something other than these open wounds.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like it's amazing.
Yeah.
So that's one of my favorites. My other one is a family member. He's 37-ish, 38, has the worst case of anxiety I've ever seen. He can convince himself. He's so smart. It's amazing. It's insane how smart he is, but his brain doesn't shut off. Yeah. So it works 24/7. Right. And I think he had some trauma younger on that just kind of flared up now as an adult with this anxiety. If he's going to work and he goes to get in his car, he will convince himself a dog's going to run out in front of his car. He's going to spin out of control, flip upside down, end up in a ditch. The ditch will be full of water. He'll drown. Nobody will find him, but it's just constant. He's done therapy, he's done yoga, meditation, breathing techniques. He's got mantra apps on his phone, anything he can think of just to quiet his brain.
Sure.
Won't take pharmaceuticals because he's afraid he'll choke and die on them. The highest amount of anxiety I've ever seen in an adult. And it locks him down. It will completely paralyze him.
Right.
And it's debilitating. If he's driving his car and it happens, somebody has to come get him and bring him in his car home.
Oh, gosh.
So I had just started with HempWorx in November, about 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. So when I saw him on the holiday, I kind of begged him to try this.
Yeah.
Without, with promising him he's not going to grow a second head, he's not going to get high, it's not going to flare up his anxiety. Like, I just wanted him to try it. And he did. I checked in on him 6 days later, and he said he felt like he had his life back for the first time ever. And the relief of the anxiety was almost immediate. Within the hour that he was still there, he said he felt better.
That's
and
amazing.
It's just, he stays on it. He's on a low dose of a serving. We're not allowed to say dose because, then it's a medicine. So a serving. He takes about 5 to 7 drops under his tongue once to twice a day. And if something causes that to kind of rev a little bit, he'll take another serving of it. A couple more drops, and he has not had a single panic attack since he started doing this.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
It's going to have to blow up especially because of what we're seeing nowadays with anxiety, with depression, with kids. I mean, and is it safe for kids now that we're on that topic?
It is. I have a friend of mine from high school is a registered nurse, and she contacted me several months ago. She's got a 12-year-old daughter that has a condition that I can't pronounce again, but it causes her brain, it makes her feel like she's hungry 24/7.
Oh, no.
And she doesn't need to sleep, is what her brain tells her. So for 12 years, they've been dealing with this, and she's literally the size of an adult. She's very overweight, and she's combative in school. She's in trouble all the time. She doesn't sleep at night. She won't do her homework. She's fighting with the other kids in the classroom. So it's been a pretty big issue for quite a long time. So I finally, after 2 months of talking with her, convinced her, just give it a shot.
Right.
She's like, I'm at the end of my rope. I'll do whatever you suggest. So she did. And the first night, the daughter slept all night. She's quit eating everything in sight. She's lost weight. She's focused. And in school, her teacher called her, the mom, and said, I need to know what you've done.
Oh, my gosh.
Because it's night and day difference. Like, whatever you're doing with your daughter, you need to keep doing it because it's noticeable.
Yeah.
So she told her, I'm giving her CBD oil. The teacher's response was, I need information on that.
Right.
For parents that I need to share this with for their kids because she's calm, she's focused, her grades are coming up.
Yeah.
And she had run out at one point of the oil and called me in a dead panic. She'd been out for 2 days and everything did kind of start to come back. And
wow.
It's kind of the body craving CBD, and it can come back. It's not going to, repair it forever where you never need to take it again. Our bodies are actually required.
Right, like you said, we're all in deficit essentially.
Exactly.
And so, I guess that's a really good question too. So someone might say, well, so then I'm going to have to take this for the rest of my life.
Right.
And you would say, yeah, but who cares?
Exactly. Like
you don't have anxiety anymore.
You're not taking, Vicodin the rest of your life.
Yeah,
or,
right.
Ritalin or anything else. But, and even with me, I've gone through helping everybody's pets feel better. And I came across this company and I thought, well, maybe I should start taking it. To see. I have issues like everybody else.
Right.
I have herniated discs in my neck. I have scoliosis, so my low back has constant pain. And then I developed PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome.
Right.
I got that about 10 years ago, and that caused a horrible hormone imbalance. And as one of the side effects to it was I had ovarian cysts that would rupture every month, and I got hyperpigmentation all over my face. Not knowing where it was coming from or what it was. So I did chemical peels and microdermabrasion and bleaching cream and everything else, and nothing helped. So I started doing this in November, primarily for my pain in my neck and my back. And within about a week, the pain was completely gone.
Wow.
And I have gone to a massage therapist every 2 weeks for 17 years for neck and back. So I'm now on a once-a-month maintenance plan, just full body, kind of checking in with her. PCOS is in remission. Hyperpigmentation is probably 95% improved from where it was. Anxiety's gone, irritability's gone, and those are both side effects to PCOS.
Okay.
So I don't want to come off of it just because it's been such a life changer for me.
Right.
To be pain-free after 17 years.
Yeah.
I stay on it. And I would suggest staying on it, obviously, to anybody that has any kind of issues.
It's interesting because when you talk about this, I'm thinking, I feel pretty good, but maybe I should, maybe I'm not doing as well as I could. It just seems like there's almost, if all of us have this deficiency because we're not getting the cannabinoids that we need. So it's interesting just to think that, I wonder if I could be feeling even better.
What is it going to do if I take it?
Right. Because I feel pretty good. But no, it's nice to know because, random things happen. My brother has been in tip-top shape his whole life, college athlete, and then just recently came up with this adrenal fatigue. Yeah. Again, one of these kind of, I would imagine fibromyalgia, some of these that they can't pinpoint. Then you start thinking you can't pinpoint it because your traditional approaches don't have answers for something that when the question is something that has been off limits in Western medicine, pretty much.
Right. Yeah, and there's, like I said, there's a lot that still feel like, you get these diagnoses, like you said, of like neuropathy or fibromyalgia or plantar fasciitis or even like celiacs or, ADD and ADHD. To me, in my, non-medical opinion, is that these are all just Band-Aid diagnoses because they don't know.
Right.
They don't know what's causing it. They don't know what to give you to fix it. And I have testimonials for all of those.
Right.
With people that have been in chronic pain for years, nerve pain or sciatica pain even, and all these different things. And they use CBD oil and they come back going, I don't know how this works, but I don't have that pain anymore.
Right.
Or I can feel my feet for the first time in 15 years. I can wear my cowboy boots for the first time in 10 years or whatever it might be. Or I'm off of Zoloft and all of these like hardcore medications that even gabapentin. I have a lot of people that are, I've been on gabapentin and, Vicodins and all this other hydrocodone and, oh God, morphine. All these awful things for years and years and years, and they were able to wean off of it and just do the oil and have better success than they were with all the pharmaceuticals.
Right.
And spend less.
Yeah, and it's a natural approach. And they don't have any side effects. So that's a bonus.
Not going to ruin your liver and your kidneys.
Right.
And put holes in your stomach and blow your esophagus. And exactly.
And like you talked about earlier, was it your grandmother who had, it wasn't the disease. It was the side effects from the medications that actually ultimately.
Heavy duty pharmaceuticals. Yeah. Even Alzheimer's and dementia. And Michael J. Fox has partnered with Cornell University. And he's funding their research program for CBD oil with Parkinson's.
Okay.
And he's had such great success with him taking it for Parkinson's that he's funding their program.
So, and that's where we can get excited because sometimes you just need that notoriety. So someone who is well known and then a nice school like Cornell that people, is YouTube
with it.
Right? Yeah. And is YouTube going to be able to shut them down?
Exactly.
So that provides me with a lot of hope because the testimonials are profound and important. And then we do need some research. We need some numbers because eventually, if we do want this to be able to be legitimate in the sense that it should be legitimate, and also we do want regulation to a degree eventually because we want to make sure that people aren't selling what you sell is different from what you're saying is in a lot of these stores. So we need to get that under control. Yeah. But it sounds like right now, so for example, how about if a listener wants to get a hold of this? They can't necessarily get this everywhere right now. Is that the case? Or what's the story? If someone's inspired and wants to purchase, how can they go about it without being illegal?
Exactly. So it's federally legal in all 50 states.
Okay.
There's a 2014 Farm Bill Act that clarifies that, where hemp, it's been illegal here for, like we said, almost 100 years. But this Farm Act cleans up kind of that gray area. Okay. I always tell people kind of the most important things to look for, especially if you go into a health food store, are the ingredient list. Okay. If there's, even stevia doesn't need to be in there. No. It does not taste that bad that you need to put stevia in your oil.
I don't believe in such things.
No,
if I'm going to have sugar, I have sugar.
Exactly. It's there for a reason. So.
I don't know.
But even like all the other every CBD oil has a carrier oil. For the ingestion and the absorption. Ours is hemp oil, comes from the hemp plant, just like all the cannabinoids, which is good. It's all whole plant. For me, the hemp plant works with those cannabinoids. You want it all together. Different additives and fillers that are in them, if they're water soluble, is a big deal. A lot of people are looking for water soluble CBD because they think that it's absorbed into your body better. What they don't know is if it's water soluble, they use harsh solvents and toxins and chemicals to make that oil water soluble, and those solvents stay in that product that you're ingesting. So just because somebody tells you, hey, ours is water soluble, doesn't mean it's a good thing. Even the extraction process, a lot of companies use butane or alcohol or ethanol as the extraction process to extract the cannabinoids from the plant. Those are toxic, and the plant does not like to be heated up. So if you're heating up that plant to do the extraction, you're actually damaging your end result, your product of what you're getting. So CO2 cold press extraction is the best method for that, which is what you want to look for too. Okay. And then, like I said earlier, full spectrum. Okay, full spectrum, CO2, cold press. Yep. Okay. No additives, no fillers. Okay. And then make sure it's not sourced overseas. They don't have regulations on growing the hemp over there. They can mass produce and have industrial hemp without the regulations on the fields. The company I'm with, everything is sourced in the States from seed to sale. So everything's in-house, in States. Our hemp fields are in Kentucky. They're FDA compliant. Okay. Not that the FDA always means a whole lot, but, but they are FDA compliant, organic, certified, no pesticides, non-GMO, gluten-free. Okay. Yeah, no toxins at all, which I think that's important.
Dr. Karen Anderson-Abril.
I'd love to connect with you on social media. On Instagram, I'm at Dr. Karen, dr.karin. Here I share my thoughts on love and life through original quotes and images. I'd love to have you join the conversation. On Twitter, I'm at Dr. Karen Anderson. You can find me live tweeting my favorite shows, This Is Us, Will and Grace, and my guilty pleasure, All Shows Bachelor Nation. On Facebook, I'm at Dr. Karen Anderson Abril. There you can read my blog, see where I'm speaking, and find links to others' podcasts when I'm a guest on their show. Jen, this has been such important information, and I know my listeners will be very, very excited, especially some of those who are having some of these conditions and concerns. And so how can they get a hold of you to learn more? How can they purchase some if they'd like to try that? Let them know.
Yeah, absolutely. They can call me. My direct number is 219-851-0900. I have a Facebook group page. It's under, if you search Natural Relief with Jen, I will add you to that page, and I have lots of information on there, and then you can reach me direct. My email is HempWorx with an X, HempWorx Jen Kerr, Kerr, @yahoo.com. And then my website that you can actually purchase direct from is www.reliefwithjen.com, and it's Jen with one N. We have a 30-day empty bottle money-back guarantee. I have not had a single person return a bottle that I'm aware of since I started doing this last fall.
Wow.
So, yeah, but there's any of those ways you can absolutely reach me. If you just have questions and want to talk about your issues or what you're experiencing, I'm more than happy to talk about that too.
Fantastic. Well, I'm excited because I feel like you've given me such another tool to suggest to people who don't want to get caught up in all the mess that Big Pharma has to offer.
Exactly.
In a variety of conditions and concerns. So, yeah. Thanks again, Jen.
Thank you for having me.
You bet.
I appreciate it.
So the Love and Life hack for this week is CBD. As I mentioned at the top of the hour, I haven't tried CBD oil, but I'm encouraged and I'm enthusiastic about an approach that's natural, that sidesteps Big Pharma and all its side effects, and gives us hope that we can treat many conditions safely and naturally. Take charge of your thoughts. Take charge of your life. This is Dr. Karen Anderson Abril. Thanks so much for joining me. And until next time, make it a great week.
Dr. Karen Love and Life is produced by Chip Gregory, senior producer Michelle Musso, and host and executive producer Dr. Karen Anderson Abril.